What's going on, everybody? Back with another video. I wanted to talk about 5 reasons why I'm getting rid of my Civic, and I'm just kind of fed up with it. There's a couple different things. There's a lot of little small things, but the 5 ones that kind of got to me, and I was just kind of over it. Number 1, everybody knows the AC issue. If you go back and watch my other videos, I kind of talk about it. They're not how-tos or anything like that, but I just talk about the issues that the AC system was having. You'll find on there all the different comments from all over the world of people having the same issue. But the part that really got me frustrated with Honda was they were saying, "Oh no, it's the condenser, which is right in here, right next to your radiator." And then they were saying, "Oh wait, no, it's the evaporator coil. Oh no, wait, it's the AC compressor." They were bouncing around, and so some people were getting resolutions from it. If you watch one of my other videos too, I talk about how they gave us the extended warranty on the AC condenser. But again, that didn't help everybody. And a lot of people ended up going to the dealership thinking that they were going to get a new AC condenser, new AC system, or get it replaced or fixed. And they ended up having to fork out cash because a rock would hit the AC condenser through there. You can see that. So that was pretty frustrating. I ran into that issue as well. I have a lot of damage on my AC condenser, but it is not leaking. So that's what they tried the first time. The second time I went in, they had to refill the system, do all that kind of stuff. Third time I went in, I had to argue with them more. Fourth time I went in, I found the leak myself by getting a leak detector off of eBay, and I found out that the AC compressor was leaking. So it was replaced. It was not easy, and I had to argue up and down with every single manager and corporate and everybody to get it replaced. And I even paid for the extended warranty. So extremely frustrating, a huge letdown from Honda. After that, I'll probably, I wouldn't say that I'm never going to buy a Honda again, but I'm definitely going to do my research ahead of time and see what the issues are with the car before then. So that's number 1. You guessed it, the gas tank. Huge issue for me, and I've actually already had it replaced. I'll try to do like a screenshot and post it up on here, but while pumping gas, now this isn't, me overflowing it or trying to continue pumping even after it stops. This is just strictly, you put the gas nozzle in there, you let it pump, and then as soon as it gets full, gas starts gushing out of the filler neck here. And I mean everywhere. It'll fly out of here, land in here, it'll overflow in here, and then come down the side of my paint job right here. Extremely frustrating. I took it in. There wasn't a recall, but there was a service bulletin about it. And my vehicle was still under warranty at the time. So they went ahead and they replaced it. It lasted exactly 1 year. After 1 year, same thing started happening again. And then they just started playing games. Oh, it's the way that you're pumping. Oh, it's because you're hitting the nozzle and you're keeping it going. They were trying to come up with every excuse in the book as to why it was happening. But at the end of the day, it's just Honda and these stupid capless filler necks. I haven't seen this issue with other vehicles. I've only experienced it with this Civic. But when gas is $6 a gallon, I don't care how much spills out of here. If I pump gas, I want it going into the fuel tank, not down the side of my car. And sometimes it's a lot, and sometimes it's just a little bit. But it's extremely frustrating, and I've spoken with Honda corporate, and I've spoken with anybody that I could get a hold of, and nobody is willing to help at this point because it's been over the year since they've replaced it, and the car is no longer under the manufacturer's warranty. The extended warranty would not help me with this. So number 2 reason, right there. All right, coming in at number 3. Oh, I forgot my keys. All right, coming at number 3. You probably have already seen my video. The radio. This thing is junk. It's not doing it right now. But if you watch my other video, every morning, at least, I would say 3 to 4 times a month, I get in the car and I hook up my phone, my iPhone. And it's done with all the iPhones that I have. I've gone through 3 different upgrades already. From the 8, 8 Plus, the 11, up to the iPhone 12. It always does it. I don't know what the issue is. Honda has done a reset, whatever they call it. If you watch my video, I show about 3 different ways that you can reset it yourself just so you can get back on the road. Because again, Honda's not really going to do much to help you. But you get in the car. First thing your radio says as soon as you start driving is bad USB device. And you won't be able to control anything. The only thing that will work is your AM and FM radio. So you'll have to do something. You'll have to either turn the car off. And if you're already driving, I mean, it's not really safe to pull over on the side of on the road or the freeway or whatever just to reset your radio. I mean, this is not right. The other thing is you would have to go out to your fuse box, pull the fuse, and then reinsert it so that it would take power away from that. And that's pretty much a hard reset, and it'll start working again. But again, you're in a rush in the morning, you're late to work or whatever. If, like for me, I have a 45-minute commute one way. So if I get in the car and I'm running late or whatever, I'm not going to sit there and pull over, get out. And if restarting my car doesn't work, I have to go out, pull a fuse, put the fuse back in. I mean, yeah, it's easy for me, but for other people, it may not be, especially if you don't know where the fuse is, you have to do it. But I've been doing it so many times now, I know exactly where it's at. But it's still super annoying. Why isn't it just fixed? It's Honda. Their reputation is not living up to, what it used to be. And that, for me, is extremely frustrating. So from the AC, that is just my biggest concern right there. The fuel that I'm wasting pumping that's not actually going into the tank. The radio. I mean, there's a lot of little things, and it's all kind of adding up to the bigger issue of why am I paying for this car when it has all these issues and none of them are getting fixed by Honda. I'm just pretty much giving the cold shoulder to it. So fourth issue I have, you guessed it, tires. You're probably asking, why the tires? What does that have to do with the car? Well, if you're like me and you commute in this car daily, Monday through Friday, about 45 minutes one way, I don't have weight distributed across the vehicle for all the other passenger seats. I have stuff in the trunk and things like that, but it's not enough weight to counter my weight on the front of the vehicle in the driver's seat. Essentially, what's happening is the tires are beginning to cup. You're getting the cupping where you start hearing when you're driving, you hear that whoa, 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 whoa. You're hearing all that noise. My tires are cupping, and they pretty much Honda told me that I needed to purchase like a caster camber kit, and that because whatever the bolts and stuff like that aren't able to adjust that far to compensate for just me being in the vehicle all the time. I never really have any passengers in the car because I just use it to commute. But basically what's happening is, with me just being in the car, the weight is being shifted off of the tires. They're not contacting the ground the way that they should be, and which is causing the inside of the tires to cup. Now they say, well, one way to remedy this is to rotate your tires every 2,000 to 3,000 miles. Rotate them more often. You won't have that issue. Okay, but I literally put like 1,000 miles to almost 2,000 miles a week on this car. So I would literally be doing a tire rotation every single week. And that is just ridiculous. I mean, I don't have the time to do that. I barely have time for myself. If anybody follows this channel, you would know that I haven't even really been posting a lot of videos lately. I just don't have time anymore. So that's kind of one of the reasons for that. But I don't have time to sit here and keep rotating my tires every week. That's ridiculous. So I get a lot of road noise while I'm driving. You get that wong, 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 all that kind of stuff. It's not my hubs. Hubs are fine. It's the tires. I've seen the cupping. I've tried to remedy it, and I've not been able to, and I refuse to purchase any additional parts to correct the problem when Honda should just be correcting the problem themselves. I've commuted in plenty of other cars by myself with no other people in the car in the past, and I've never had that issue with tires cupping. If I have, it's because the shocks were bad or they were worn out or whatever the case might be. But with this car, suspension and everything is perfect, except for, again, that issue with the cupping of the tires. So that's my number 4. The trunk. You're saying, well, what in the trunk is gonna cause you to want to return your car? That right there. It's working right now because I'm making the video, so of course it's gonna work. But 95% of the time, when I open up my trunk, this light does not come on. So normally at nighttime, when I'm leaving work or when I get to work in the morning, but what happens is that latch goes bad. Mine is bad right now. So right now it is working, but 95% of the time, when I hit the trunk release button, the latch mechanism will actually work, but the sensor inside of it will not tell the vehicle that the trunk is open. It took me a while to figure out what was happening, but what happened is I would go to work, I would hit the trunk unlock, I'd come over here, start getting stuff out of my car, you know, my backpack or whatever, and loading stuff. And what would happen is while I was moving stuff around, the vehicle alarm would start going off. And I would think that I was just hitting the button, the panic button right here. So then I started paying attention to where my key was. Oh, am I putting the key in the right place? Is it in my pocket and I'm pushing buttons? Maybe that's what's going on. No. So what was happening was I was unlatching the vehicle, the trunk would open. But what would happen is after 30 seconds, the car would lock. So then after 30 seconds, well, randomly, the light would come on. The light would finally come on, and that would tell me that the signal from the latch up there has finally opened. The circuit has finally opened, and it has now told the vehicle that the trunk is open. But guess what? After 30 seconds, the car locks. So that triggers the alarm. So while I'm in a parking lot talking to friends, talking to people, boom, my car alarm just randomly keeps going off. So then I have to rush, grab my keys, try to figure out which button, sit there and push them all because I'm panicking because it's embarrassing, you know, trying to figure it out. But super annoying if you have this issue. This was something that, you know, I never even thought of, and I had to sit there and kind of think about the schematics and how things work. And it wasn't until it all started happening simultaneously that I realized what was actually happening. The trunk latch up here goes bad. The mechanism still works, but the sensor does not. The car would automatically lock itself after 30 seconds of you getting out of the car, walking to the back of your trunk, just like it did right now. And then the signal from your trunk latch would trigger, saying that the trunk was open, thus setting off the alarm. I've already replaced it, and it's already bad again. This thing only has 60,000 miles on it, and I've already had to replace that twice, and not under warranty, out of pocket. Extremely frustrating. Again, it's the small things. It's really starting to add up. There's a lot of other things that's kind of going on with this car that just kind of irritate me, but you know, this video is just the top 5 that are just kind of getting to me. That is damage from this big old opening right here in the front of the grill. You see that? So we talked about the AC issue in the beginning of the video. Well, this is one of the issues that you run into with owning the Civic. Is there's nothing here stopping a big rock or a small rock or anything, debris from on the freeway, from hitting your AC condenser. Your AC condenser is the first thing that a rock will hit when it flies through here. Condenser. And as you can see, mine is pretty beat up. I have a video that I show just putting like a mesh right here and then just zip tying it to the plastic pieces here. So if you want to check that out, just to kind of help protect it. But look at that. It is just banged up, and all it takes is a rock. Not the fins, but there's the coils that run in alongside with the fins. All it takes is a rock to hit one of those, break the aluminum, and then that will cause your Freon to leak out. And that's what essentially happens with these. They are warranting the condenser from any leaks that happen from a manufacturer's defect. But if you have this happening where rocks are getting hit, rocks are hitting the AC condenser, they will not. If it looks like this but it's not leaking, then that's fine. But if you have a rock that hit it and broke it and caused the Freon to leak out, they are not warranting it. That means that you have to pay out of pocket for that damage. Which is kind of right, because I mean it's not their fault that you hit something on the freeway. But what frustrates me is this is their design. They designed this to have free-flowing big old freaking gaps that you can stick your hand through. So alright, so there's my top 5 with the extra little bonus reasons of why I'm selling my Civic. I used to love this car. It was a great car when I first got it. It gets almost 35 miles, if not more, to the gallon, which is great, especially with today's fuel cost. But with everything that I'm kind of dealing with, and it's only got 65,000 miles on it, I see a lot more stuff happening to it, and I definitely don't see my AC system continuing to work past 100,000 miles in my situation. So I was made an offer on this car that I cannot refuse, and it's more than what I actually paid for the vehicle. And I put almost 70,000 miles on it. That being said, I'm making some money on this car. I'm going to get rid of it, and I'm probably going to move over to some other brand of vehicle. I don't know yet, and I'm definitely not in the position to be promoting any kind of brand names or anything like that right now. But yeah, so the Honda is going to be gone later on today. Peace.